Tony Robbins is a giant legend. His estimated net worth as I'm making this video is around $600 million. But more notably, he's actually helped businesses bring in over $7 billion over his lifetime. And the crazy thing about all that is he literally started from nothing. Drake said 0 to 100 real quick. Tony said 0 to 600 million real quick. And before we dive into his revenue streams and how he's been able to build such a successful empire, and also how you can mimic those, let me share a quick message from Tony himself.
So it became my like last stand kind of thing. I'm gonna find a way, and I found a way. And I'll tell you what, part of what made it a must and part of what changed me from making $38,000 a year to making $1 million a year within 1 year was having a son that I wasn't planning coming into this world. So I grew up with so much pain. I linked so much pain to finances and not having it. I always swore I would not have a child until I was set financially because I didn't want them to go through that.
His driving force for being so goddamn successful is his lack of money from his childhood and his son. So before we dive in, I want that to sit with you. Take this moment, think about the things in your life that might be the driving force for why you want to do the things you want to do. And while you think about that, first, I want to introduce myself for any of you who are watching, who are new to the channel. My name is Rue. I've been investing since 2009, and I have no course, no seminars to sell you or anything like that. All I want to do is make you richer than you were yesterday. And if you like content like that, and you like business, investing, stocks, finance, crypto, all that stuff, make sure to subscribe. And more importantly, because I don't have a consistent posting schedule, make sure to hit the notification bell as well. And just like for me, in Tony's case, all you need is the right motivation to become successful. And I know what you might be thinking, well, motivation won't get you there, which is true. It's a lot of dedication as well. And more importantly, it's the right purpose for the mission or the ideas or beliefs, and you mix in the right circumstances, or in Tony's case, the wrong circumstances, and you can fuse those together to make what you want a reality. But before he was so successful, he started by making only $30,000 a year. This was at the same time that he was bringing his son into the world. He was extremely motivated and dedicated to building his first business called Robbins Research Institute, where he made his first $1 million by speaking and writing. And his goal wasn't just to put food on the table for his family, but something way, way bigger. That goal was to become the most influential person on the planet. And that same dream, that same belief, helped him go from a $1 million business to a $5 million business in just a few years' time. And that made him a millionaire by age 26. But I feel like there's a lot of missing pieces in the middle. How did he go from making $30K a year to $1 million a year to $5 million a year, and now 30 years later he's worth nearly $500 million, and probably at this point about $1 billion? Well, let's dive right in. This is Tony Robbins' first revenue stream, and that is writing. His books and his writings have been sold all across the world. Millions and millions of copies have been pushed to bookstores around the world, and that started by writing motivational books, which is how a lot of people know of the man. And it's the same thing that got him his start and his first $1 million. He's written quite a lot of books, actually. 7 of them have become international bestsellers, and he sold over 15 million copies total. And if you want to know a good favorite of mine, that is this book, which is called Unshakable. If you haven't read it and you like investing and you like the stock market and you like learning about market cycles, this is definitely a good read. But this is just one of the many books that he's written. And what's crazy is he earned his first million by the time he's 26 and written multiple books by then. And I'm 27 years old and I've really only written one book. I mean, technically I have like 3 things out on Amazon, but this guy was relentless. And if you look to his work, he continues to be relentless throughout everything that he does. Just writing this video made me realize I need to get to Tony Robbins' level. Tony is making a killing. From his audio programs that were made from books to just the books sold, people have probably bought over 100 million items from the man himself. That's crazy to think about. But next, let's talk about his second income stream. This is his seminars, his courses, and a lot of his net worth comes from this as well. If you've seen I Am Not Your Guru, that is one of my favorite movies if you want to feel inspired or motivated. And his most powerful one that he's ever created is called Unleash the Power Within, which apparently has earned him over $10 million. And that's just one of the many events that he runs. And if you haven't picked up the trend already, and a piece of value that you can get from this is that if you want to be a multi-millionaire or a billionaire, you have to do a lot of things that make you money. And the third thing that makes Tony Robbins a lot of money is his motivational speaking. And it goes along the same lines of his seminars, but those are a little bit different from the motivational things that he does. And it's reported that he charges anywhere from $300,000 up to $1 million for his events. Pretty wild. And something that we can learn from Tony Robbins is charge what you're worth. Now, if you've never done a speaking gig, you might just do a couple for free, or maybe do a few to get your toes wet for maybe 1,000, 5,000, 10,000. But because he's done so many and he's such an impactful person and his time is worth so much, that is why he is able to charge $300,000 upwards to $1 million, and I wouldn't be surprised if that number keeps growing. And so this side hustle, the motivational speaking side hustle, if that's what you could call it, makes him roughly $9 to $10 million a year. And that number will probably continue to grow. His next revenue stream is executive coaching. Since he's so influential in business and finance, he's able to offer private coaching for celebrities or high net worth individuals. He has a long list of clients like Usher or Pitbull, to athletes like Conor McGregor, which we're gonna do an episode about, and Serena Williams, plus politicians like Bill Clinton, and moguls like Ray Dalio and Oprah. His fees for coaching range from anywhere to $5 to $6 to $10 to $12,000, depending on the number of sessions that you book with him. And the next revenue source is something that we kind of mentioned earlier. If you remember, I did talk about one of his Netflix specials, which is the documentary released in 2015 called I Am Not Your Guru. Not only does that bring in money, but it also brings him customers, potential new clients, and revenue. And having that exposure on such a big platform is super impactful to his what? His life purpose, which is to help as many people as he possibly can. And that's something that we can all learn from Tony. Everything that he does inadvertently helps his overall mission. His next revenue stream, which is revenue stream number 6, is his life coaching courses. Now, I'm personally not a big fan of courses. As you guys know, I have no plans to sell any, but Tony has decided to do what's called a life coaching certificate program where he is your life coach. And through this, he helps people like me and other people that want to become influential, to allow them to build the skills to become speakers just like Tony. And the 7th revenue stream that Tony Robbins has is his Fiji Island resort. And I know that sounds like a destination for a nice vacation, but it's a property that Tony bought for $15 million a few years back and is now worth a little over $50 million. Not a bad return on investment if you ask me. And if you can tell, I mean, with 7 different income streams, he didn't build his wealth overnight. I mean, he's over 60 years old at this point. For a lot of us, that is nearing retirement age. And his net worth took 35 plus years to acquire, with the majority of his wealth coming in his later years. He truly has had a grassroots come up. And Tony's blueprint is the same blueprint that I've been following for the last 2 years of starting this business. And these are some of the main takeaways that I have taken away from his content and from his books as well. The first one is where you start doesn't necessarily mean that's where you're gonna end up. And Tony personally had a really rough upbringing, but that didn't stop him from becoming the man he is today. Lesson number 2 is that your limits are only held up by the ones you place in your own mind. Remember that Tony has only had a high school education, and he didn't let a university degree hold him back. And if you look at him now, he coaches some of the most influential and well-known people around the world. Again, with a high school degree. And the last lesson is make sure to learn from mentors so you can become one as well. Tony had learned some of the most impactful things that he teaches today from a guy named Jim Rohn, and is now able to pass those lessons on to the people that he teaches and coaches today. And lastly, remember to always give back to others. Whether that's your time, your information, or your money, giving back has been one of the pillars that Tony Robbins chooses to live his life and what he believes has contributed to his success. And if you want to know what other rich people are investing in or how they made their money, make sure to go check out this playlist here. And if you like content like this and if you haven't subscribed already, make sure to do so now. And lastly, don't forget to like this video, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.